Good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Hope you're all doing well. So I've got a special guest. I got Ken from The Ugly Truth that's going to join me shortly. And we're going to break down something. We're going to talk about the Yankees defensive metrics. There's a lot of talk about how bad the Yankees defense is, right? From an analytics standpoint, from a metric standpoint, from a performance standpoint. And some of this stuff is justified, but it seems as if there's a lot of this based on a few narratives, right? A few talking points, whether it's the Game 5 of the World Series last year or a lot of this defensive, ineptitude or so-called ineptitude revolves around Anthony Volpe right now. Okay, and I understand people are frustrated. So without further ado, let me get my man Ken from The Ugly Truth, who's going to join me right now. Ken,
Morning, Jake.
How we doing?
Another ducky day in paradise. Drop-offs for grandkids at camp is done. Got a little bit of leisure time, so thanks for asking me on.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on, man. Same thing, camp drop-offs. Girls making me late for everything. You know how to deal.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to all you folks in the chat. Franchise, Murderers Row, Jonathan, Beagle. What's up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. So, again, Ken and I have been talking about this, and there's a lot of, and you folks let us know in the comments how you feel about this too. There's a lot of discussion right now that revolves around defense, right, in the Yankees. And it's a lot of it revolves around Anthony Volpe. And keep in mind, Anthony Volpe's got about 25% of the errors that the Yankees had this year. So that's an eyesore, 100%. So, and I think if they don't get Eugenio Suarez at third base, then I think they're going to go heavy on the defensive side, right? Because if there's anywhere they can move the needle, at least when it comes to third base, if it's not going to be Suarez, it's going to be with the glove, right? And there are a couple guys, and we'll go over that too, that I think the Yankees would be wise to target at some point too. Obviously, we want a right-handed bat who can hit well. Suarez is the big bat that's available, right? And I don't know if you saw it last night. He was hit by a pitch in his lead hand, his left hand, and I got scared for a second. Said, "Oh my God, this guy's hurt. Is he hurt now?" But he came right back in the game. He made a great defensive play. So, and I wasn't expecting that. So I'm glad to see him back. He'll probably be sore the next day, a couple of days. But there's no games until Friday, right? And but I do think their logic or their plan of attack on third base, if it's not Suarez's bat, it's probably going to be defense to help offset some of these discussions that we're hearing across the board. I mean, Ken, what's your take on this stuff?
Honestly, a lot of the talking narrative has been that the Yankees are a fundamentally flawed team, defensive-wise, and this year Cashman and Boone and Hal set up to build a team that eliminates runs from the other teams via pitching, via fielding, and if you actually look at the defensive numbers this year, the Yankees are actually pretty good. The overall numbers, the Yankees have committed 45 errors. Now you want to put that in the scale. The worst team in the major leagues right now is, as far as defense is concerned, is the Colorado Rockies, and they have like 82 errors. The best team defensively in the league is Texas Rangers with 31.
Mm-hmm. Let's put this up on the screen, gang. Team fielding, okay? Can you guys see this? Okay, let me get this thing out of the way here. Add out of the way. Team fielding. Okay, we see the Diamondbacks, Athletics. Will scroll down to the Yankees, right? Actually, let's go to the error column, which is this column here. Okay, 48. Who's got 64 for the Athletics, 33 for the Braves, 51 for the Orioles, 78 for the Red Sox. They're one of the more defensively flawed teams in the game, despite their 10-game winning streak. Right? 38 for the Cubs, 58 for the White Sox, 48 for the Reds, 66 Guardians, 80 for the Rockies, 46 for the Tigers, another team that a lot of Yankees fans worry about, and I understand why. As you keep scrolling down here, and you got 41 for the Astros, 31 for the Royals, 61 for the Angels, 44 for the Dodgers, 48 for the Marlins, 47 Brewers, 46 Twins, 45 Mets, and 45 Yankees. Now, the Yankees, and we can keep going, 36 Phillies, 44 Pirates, 48 Padres, 39 Mariners, 57 Giants. We got 36 Cardinals, 46 for the Rays. Rangers are at 31. They're probably the best defensive team in baseball. Blue Jays are at 50. Nationals are at 49. Right? As you can see, the Yankees are pretty solid when it comes to at least errors, preventing errors. And if you look right here, their fielding percentage collectively is what? 987. The Mets are at 987. The team that called them fundamentally flawed, the Dodgers, right? Where are they? Let's scroll up to the Dodgers. 987 also. Even footing.
So, I mean, if you rank it perspective wise, with regard to errors, the Yankees are the 11th best team in Major League Baseball. If you look at the scale compared to within our own division, the 3 out of the worst 10 teams in the division are the Red Sox, Orioles, and Blue Jays. So they've been on winning streaks. Can they continue to do that with that trend of errors? I say no. I think they're going to falter, and we'll end up pole vaulting them. The other team in our division, the Rays, are just sitting with, I think, 1 or 2 more errors than us. So we're playing better defense than every team in the AL East. If you look at the big hitters, you've got the Tigers, who are sitting at 15. The Dodgers are at 10th. They're 1 slot ahead of us. So all in all, the thought process that the Yankees are fundamentally flawed as a defensive team is not really true. Numbers don't support it.
Are you of the same position too, that a lot of this argument is based on the Yankees' performance of Game 5 last year, World Series, and what's going on right now with Anthony Volpe?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, we had an epic collapse and a calamity of errors that I've never seen in 1 inning. And the Dodgers, some of the clown Dodgers after the series said, we just had to wait for them to implode. And that has sparked the talking point from hell. Volpe, if you look at Volpe's numbers, he has 11 errors on the season. He's 23rd, one of the worst ones in Major League Baseball. But you have to put that in perspective. Volpe has 611 putouts. It's the 5th most putouts from any shortstop in Major League Baseball. So he's fielding the ball a hell of a lot more than any other people. The other thing that you have to look at is Volpe's assists. He's at 202, which is 11th in the major leagues. So he's fielding a lot of balls. The thing with New York media and New York fans, he tends to have a decision discourse late in the game under pressure situations. There are times that he should eat the ball, not throw it. He's made 2 or 3 throws to third base that have not been good in any instance. There have been times that he's backed up, fielded a ball that there's no way that he could gun the runner head into first, but he throws it and rushes a throw and tends to hurt himself.
He kind of backed into that the other day, trying to get the lead runner at second. He fielded it, didn't get the lead runner at second, right? And that was the first thing they pointed out, the reporters. So that he could have charged after it and then potentially got the runner at second. But I understand.
That's a whole concept. He's got so much focus on him. If he does anything that's a misstep, it's blown up 50-fold by the media.
Yeah, and to Graham's point too. I mean, we're getting right here. We get heat on it on every level because the team is Yankees. Yeah, I mean this is spot on too, right? It's microphone microscope by 1,000, right? We know this, and we're also getting a lot of heat from people who have never played the game. So, and then you have a lot of they're either misinformed or they're uninformed opinions, right? So, why so many people go with it, I don't know. But this is and when it comes for fielding, a lot of it's going to rely on reaction time too. You have a split second to field the ball coming at you at 110 miles an hour. Okay, that's what you got. So, and you have to do everything right to get the lead runner or the runner at first, and who gets there essentially in under 4 seconds. So everything has to happen within this 4 second window, right?
Here's some other numbers.
Go ahead.
Here are some other numbers to consider on Volpe. Volpe has been part of 42 double plays, 11th most in baseball. Volpe's D-WAR is a .9. That puts him as the 14th ranked shortstop in baseball, and that's just defensive metrics. So the narrative to get rid of Volpe, trade Volpe, dump Volpe because he's a defensive liability, not as much. Plus, I think moving Jazz back to second and putting Peraza or getting a defensive-minded third baseman who covers a lot of ground helps Volpe with regard to the fielding plays.
And to your point, if I can add to it, if Suarez doesn't happen, then I think Brian Hayes is the quick. And it sounds as if he or Ryan McMahon are the quick pivot. But the thing about Hayes is he's number one in baseball for defensive runs saved at third base. So the impact that he could have as a fielder there would be tremendous. And again, I've said this over the last, couple of weeks that Volpe could use some protection on both sides, right, at second and third defensively. So maybe that'll help his decision-making process a little bit more. So, and if that happens, it happens. But I mean, I was encouraged by the defensive play that Suarez made last night at the All-Star game in the 8th inning after he got hit by a pitch. So I was encouraged by that, but he's not known for his glove the way Brian Hayes is known for his glove. So if you can't get Suarez, is the pivot point get a glove here that can help Volpe and help the rest of the infield?
Well,
we don't know.
It's part of the team concept of run. It's part of the team concept of limiting the opponent's ability to score, and a defensive glove would go right into that pocket.
Run prevention. Run prevention is just as important as manufacturing.
To answer Franchise's question, Volpe is not a perfect offensive player either by any measure. However, if you do comparisons on Volpe's offense compared to other shortstop in Major League Baseball, his RBI count is the 5th best for all shortstops in baseball. If you look at his double tally, he is number 1 in Major League Baseball of all shortstops. So he is contributing, and his projected numbers, he's going to drive in 90-plus RBIs this season. Does he get it done every time he's at the plate? Well, no, he doesn't. Is he hitting above the Mendoza line? Yeah.
Yeah. And again,
and the long and short, if you want to replace Volpe, who do you replace him with? Are we going to trade shortstop for shortstop?
That's the $1 million question, right? Who do you replace Volpe with? We can't replace him with George Lombard because he isn't ready yet. Okay. And as much as I like Lombard, he's not ready for the majors just yet, unfortunately. So, and that's just the reality that we have to reside in right now, right? So, and again, he's going to be he'll be the shortstop. Go ahead.
Honestly, Jason, the draft may be telling also. I mean, we drafted a boatload of shortstops.
5.
So the organization may not be set on Roderick Arias or Anthony Volpe, and George Lombard Jr. may be your shortstop of the future, but he's not that shortstop today.
No, exactly. And I mean, they got Dax Kilby as their first pick. Their second pick was Keenan Kent, the son of Jeff Kent. college senior infielder. And keep in mind, too, folks, shortstop, one of the reasons why they draft so many shortstops is because they're versatile. They can move to other infield positions, right? And whether it's third or second and so on and so forth. So their versatility makes them an attractive option for teams. That's one reason why the Yankees draft so many of them, as well as other things. That's why shortstop was the most frequently drafted position in the whole entire draft. Collectively, a boatload of shortstops were taken. So, and to Ken's point too, yeah, maybe this makes Roderick Arias tradable now, right? Maybe it makes their number 13 prospect. I think his name is Manny Cedeno. He's a 16-year-old shortstop. He was the top international prospect last year. Maybe that makes him tradable because Dax Kilby, with his athletic skill set, he's going to be ahead of Cedeno. He's got one of the more advanced bats as a prep, and he bats on the left-handed side. So he's got a short contact swing. He's known for contact. So those are areas where the Yankees are looking to improve as often as they can, right?
The other note is we're the number one team to sign the number one international free agent, who's a shortstop.
Wandy Asigan from Dominican Republic. Yep. 16-year-old Dominican Republic shortstop. That's right.
Graham, am I sure about Lombard being the future shortstop? Well, that's where his base position is at shortstop, but he's been playing third and second base. Would it be difficult for him to roll back to shortstop? I don't think so.
And I think the other question to ask is, who has a higher ceiling, Volpe or Lombard?
Right? Well, at this point, you don't know because you don't know what Lombard brings to the table with the stick. And if he doesn't come out banging like gangbusters, Yankee fans are going to be on that guy like no tomorrow. Oh, he's a bust. Why did we get rid of Volpe?
Just like they're. Yeah. Yeah, and that this is something, again, just for perspective reasons, it's important to point this out. Now, I've seen what he can do with his glove. He looks impressive with his glove. He looks impressive with his base running acumen and base pass, too. So, but right now he's struggling offensively a little bit at Double-A. But that's no surprise. Double-A is a difficult transition because the pitching is better and deeper at Double-A than it is Triple-A, so it's a tougher adjustment for hitters. And just like it was for Spencer Jones last year, right? But he adapted this year and got a bump up to AAA. So all these things are good to factor in. But again, going back to the initial, are the Yankees defensively as bad as people think they are? People are saying they are. I don't think they are. Right? There are some alarming signs. Yeah, we understand Volpe has to brush up on it. He's got to improve the defense. We know that.
Hey, Graham.
Go ahead.
No arguments whatsoever, brother. Understood. That's why we do things like this, is to get people to ask the questions. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, brother.
No, that's right. And to your point, let me answer your question too, Brandon. The Rangers said one thing about Edward Cabrera, he was pulled from the game the other day with elbow discomfort. So I think he's going to be off the market, Edward Cabrera. So it's probably only going to be Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins, not Edward Cabrera. So that could be a loss for teams looking to add a big starting pitcher. So my guess is he'll be off. And I agree, Sarge. Jones reinvented himself. He made adjustments to his swing. Whatever it is, it looks like Jones found it. Whatever it is for him, he seemed to have found it, right? And I'm just happy to see it. But there's a lot of talk, and a buddy of mine is on the inside. He says a lot of the discussions right now are revolving around Spencer Jones. A lot of the back and forths revolve around Spencer Jones. So there is a decent chance that he gets moved, but I'm pretty confident that they're not going to move him for a rental. And there's also more than a decent chance that J.C. Escar gets traded. So that's what I'm also hearing. He's got about 8 teams in on it.
I think there are a lot of people that are available at the deadline. I would have swore that Grisham would have been moved at the deadline, but with his hamstring issues, he hasn't looked too impressive, and teams that are looking for a starting center fielder may be backing out of that one a bit.
Yep. You're right. Doesn't seem to be 100% with his legs.
Back to
Go ahead.
back to the fielding stats, one of the people that has come under fire for defensive play, people love his bat, is Jason Dominguez.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Dominguez has no errors in left field this season. He's ranked the number 4th outfielder in Major League Baseball. He's got limited playing time because they keep bouncing him out of the lineup, but he has 115 putouts, which puts him at 15th best in the major leagues. Uh, the other thing that I took a note of is they have something called range factor. Uh, his range factor is a 1.94, which has him as the 10th best outfielder with regard to range. So that means he covers a lot of ground and he gets to things that other outfielders are not going to do. So
That the range,
I don't,
go ahead.
I don't see Dominguez as being a remote liability in left field. He's adapted, he's learned, and he's going to have a learning curve that continues. He'll just get better with more playing time.
And range also, lies right into your ability to get to the ball, which is an indirect metric for defensive WAR, your impact on the game, right? So that's one way of calculating defense D-WAR, your ability to get to the ball. Your ability to field it and throw it, that's going to impact your fielding percentage and your error totals, right? So there's a lot of different ways. Jacob Petruzzi, Bill, shout out to everybody in chat, by the way. And again, these are the little things that I think need to be pointed out, need to be learned up on by a lot of folks at the very least. And this is why we talk about this stuff, because there's so many unfortunate talking points that leave a lot of important details out, right? And that leads, in my opinion, leads to poorly informed decisions, poorly informed overreactions, misinformed overreactions based on bad info. So
here's another one for you. Wells has been somebody who I am personally not a Wells fan. I don't think he's the catcher of the future, but the numbers for him behind the dish, he only has one error this season.
Yeah.
Wells also has 612 putouts, which has him as the fourth highest ranked person in Major League Baseball. My beef with Wells is his throws to second base. But with pitchers like Fried and Rodon, who do a good job of holding runners on, he's not being exposed as much. When he has a pitcher on the bump like Stroman, who doesn't hold runners at all, then he gets exposed, and some of the relief pitchers too.
Mm-hmm.
Something I looked at, Jason, I was just curious, so I pulled facts up. Between last year's team and this year's team, 24-25 at the All-Star break, I wanted to see where they sat. And in 2024, the Yankees had a 58-40 record. We were 2 games behind the Orioles. Our runs per game, we averaged 4.98 runs, and our run differential was a plus 106. This year at the All-Star break, we're 53-43. Guess what? We're 2 games behind the Blue Jays, the exact same spot that we were last year. Our runs per game, we're averaging 5.22. So we're actually averaging more runs than we did last year with Juan Soto. Our run differential this year is plus 111, which is more than it was last year. We came out of the gates last year and took a nose plant. This year, I'm hoping that we come out of the gates better. But as far as comparing last year's team to this year's team, we are no better or a little bit better, no worse off than we were last year. Mm-hmm. And you have to look where we've been getting dinged up at is out of our bullpen. Look at the bullpen that we had when we started the season.
Yep.
We had Williams, Weaver, Cruz, Hill, Leiter Jr., Yarbrough, Gomez, Hedrick. Of all those guys that we started the season when we were balling out of the pen, number 1 in baseball, the only ones that are left are Hill, Williams, and Weaver. And Weaver has been erratic coming off the IL. Mm-hmm. So we have a whole new crop of people sitting there, and we're relying on people like Brubaker, who's been injured for pretty much 2 years. We're bringing Johnny Loizaga back, who is coming off of Tommy John. Uh, if you look at Ian Hamilton, he is not the pitcher that we saw last year. Efros, he's coming back from injury, but he seems to be holding his own. But Clayton Beater's is a converted starter. He's had a long injury history. So we're relying on 5 people out of our pen that essentially have little to no major league experience or have been shelved for a long time. So that's part of the reason, that I'm thinking that we need to make at least 2 bullpen upgrades. We're going to get people like Cruz back in August. Yoendris Gomez or Dela Cruz, Yuri Dela Cruz is going to come back. Those were impact players in our bullpen. Mark Leiter Jr., although most people didn't like him, he's a warrior. I don't give a damn if he's not perfect. He gets out there and he is not intimidated. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the bear eats him. Sometimes he eats the bear. That's the nature of being a bullpen pitcher. And that's one of the things you have to look at. If you pull 4 bullpen guys to come into a game, each one of those 4 has to be on point for you to have a successful closeout of a game. If one of those guys has a hiccup, it stresses the bullpen.
Yeah. And there's a 3 batter minimum for all these guys, right? So let's just say you had 3 batter minimum, you walk 2 of them. The next guy that comes in to replace you, you're putting him at a disadvantage if he comes in the same inning. So this adds stress to the bullpen, right? This is why I'm curious to see, as much as they say they're going to, and Luis Hill was good in his first rehab start. They're going to build him up as a starter, but I would be fine if they kept him in long relief and they kept Ryan Yarbrough in long relief, right? And brought in a starting pitcher, because I do think those types of guys, I've said this for years, long relief is a bridge from the rotation to the short relievers in the bullpen. And it's a weapon that not many teams deploy. And this is where I think the Yankees could be effective. And again, last thing I want to do is rush Hill back, because he's been injured the last couple of years, several years too. You got Tommy John, his back, and he's got a big arm. So I want to protect that big arm any way that we can. Right, and to your point too, it looks as if the Yankees they're looking to add either one very big reliever or 2 good relievers right now. So, but I don't see the bullpen looking exactly the same come the deadline. I don't see third base looking the same come the deadline either. So, but go ahead
to shoot a thing that AJ Chen put out. I would love to see Duran as a Yankee. He solves a lot of problems for us. He is one of the better closers in the league, but there's years of controllability with him. We're losing Weaver and Williams. They'll be available as free agents. I think we only bring one of the 2 back. Not sure that we bring him back as a closer either.
Sure.
So Duran's got, I think, 3 years of control. I would love to see us try to make a deal. The question is, what is it going to cost?
Yeah, what do the Twins need most? I don't know.
I haven't done a deep dive in that. And Castro is another one that has been brought up as like a combo trade. I think the Yankees would be most effective making a combo type trade. But once again, who are we willing to give up?
Yeah, and Castro could serve as a leadoff guy as well, right? And again, this is the other topic of discussion too, because a lot of folks are saying, why is Dominguez being moved from the lineup here and there? Why is he lead off one day, 5th the next day? Because they don't have that bat like Suarez they could put there at the 5 spot or 4 spot to keep Dominguez at the top of the lineup right now, right? So Dominguez is going to be moved around. They also have to give Ben Rice at bats. They also have to give all these other guys at bats. So
the problem that you have, Jason, is Judge has 23 intentional walks this season.
Yep.
To prevent that, you got to put a solid stick behind him, or they're just going to continue the merry-go-round. This dude has, I think Mantle had 22 intentional walks to lead the Yankees. Well, Judge has passed him. We ain't even barely halfway past the season's begin. What happens when we get into competition time, late August to September? It's going to be a merry-go-round, just hold 4 fingers up and send Judge to first base.
And to your point, too, who batted second last year?
Juan Soto.
So let's just say you get Castro. You bat him at leadoff. Then you put Dominguez at second, right? Then you can go Judge 3, Cody 4, right? Suarez 5, Jazz 6, Stanton 7. Now you're deadly 1 through 6. And your 7, 8, 9 is that much more important. I mean, even if it's Stanton, Wells, and Volpe, it's 7, 8, 9, right? That to me seems like a more dangerous lineup, a more balanced lineup. If they don't get Castro, then you can leave Dominguez off if you want. But Castro gives them an option too. He's defensively pretty skilled in the infield as well. So I do think he's a free agent at the end of the year. So that would be a win now move. But Duran would be the major piece, and obviously you'd have to give up a decent package.
The Castro's listed as a utility player, and they also have him as an outfielder. I personally don't ever want to see him in the outfield. When the Twins played us last year, the Yankees abused him as a center fielder.
Yeah.
So I don't want to repeat of that. If he's positionally okay in the infield, just leave him there.
Yep. I don't think we need outfield. There's so much talk right now about Harrison. Where's Bader going to play? Where's Harrison Bader going to play?
That depends on what moves we make. Do we move Grisham? Are we bringing Spencer Jones up? Are we moving Everson Pereira? I mean, there are a lot of pins in there or blocks in there that all rest on each other.
Yeah.
And remember, I think the most players that we ever pulled off at a trade deadline was 3. If I'm shooting bullets for 3 players that I need, I'm going for bullpen arms because that's my biggest liability.
Yep.
And the other one would be third base. Not because defensively we're bad. Peraza is a good fielding third baseman. But if you look at everybody that we've played at third base this year, we are the worst team in baseball with regard to offensive metrics.
Mm-hmm.
If Oswaldo Cabrera didn't go down like he did, we wouldn't be talking about a third baseman right now. But
True.
He's gone. He's gone for the season, so we have to make adjustments to our plan.
True. Graham wants to know if we can't get Duran and Castro. Can we get Griffin, Jackson, Castro? Yeah, probably. Is Griffin Jackson free agent at the end of the year, or does he have control years like Duran does? Let me look that up right now. I'm not sure what his status is.
I don't know on that one.
Griffin Jacks. I'm going to look up his contract right now. I'm going to look up his spot track. Here we go. He's on a 1-year, $2 million deal. No, he's not a free agent until 2028. So that's another good piece. I mean, he's not as dominant as John Duran, but really hardly anybody is. Right? So, and the package wouldn't be as much, but if you can get Castro and Jacks and not have to fork up a lot of top brass, then I would be up for that. Right? But I don't think Castro would be the main bat for third base. I mean, if you can get Suarez and then do that trade and get another reliever, I think that'd be a hell of a deadline.
The question, Chen, is Austin Riley. What does his contract look like?
Big.
And yeah, right now I know that the Yankees 2026 payroll is sitting roughly ballpark about $280 million.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to look possibly at a first baseman, at least 2 bullpen arms. So that's not a lot of cash to be playing around with. And I don't know if that's taken into account that the Marlins are taking $10 million of Giancarlo Stanton's contract. So it may actually be at 270. But that still puts us over the first level of the threshold, and 281 is the second level. So we're knocking on the door for that right off the bat.
Yeah, and speaking to AJ's too, Austin Riley is going to make $21.2 million per year until 2033. There's a club option for 33, then he's a free agent 34. So you got another 8 years on his contract. And he's already, I think he's 28 years old now. So that's probably going to be an ugly guy. And again, that blocks Lombard. So
Riley is, if they sign him for that long a deal, that's means that he's part of their building block future.
I would think so too.
So wouldn't tend to think that they would want to move him.
Yeah, yeah. What weaknesses, Grant, on Murder's Row, you talk about with regards to Suarez? I mean, it depends on what they're looking for. If they're looking for a bat that's going to move the needle for the Yankees at this stage of the game, there's no better bat that's going to move the needle based on what they're currently looking for from the right-handed side than Suarez.
I mean, they're looking for atypically from a third base position. It's a position of power. So you're looking for a guy who hits home runs. Well, Suarez has got over 30.
Yeah.
I've called play-by-plays for the Diamondbacks. Matter of fact, I called his 4 home run night. My son is a huge Diamondbacks fan, so I've watched the Diamondbacks all year long. That team is phenomenal.
He killed the Yankees too this year.
Oh yeah.
No.
Does he come through every time? No. There's no baseball player out there, including Aaron Judge, that comes through every time.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a win now piece right now, there's no better trial run player than Suarez. And that's the other thing too about the benefit of a trial run, right? If he comes here and it doesn't pan out, they can move on from him.
Yeah,
but then
without a doubt.
The bigger question is, what's the asking price? Spencer Jones, I'm not comfortable with. Cam Schlittler, I'm not comfortable with. But I have no problem giving up. And the fact of the matter is, too, the Diamondbacks have a lot of outfielders. So why am I trading Jones to a team that has a lot of outfielders, right?
They're shopping outfielders right now.
Yeah, and they're shopping outfielders. So, and again, what if Peraza and Roderick Arias, as well as some pitching, right? Could that be something? Because Peraza, here's the guy that can step in right now for Suarez. Roderick Arias is the guy you can develop behind Peraza, and you have the ability to move him wherever he wants. So you're giving him that piece right now, and the developmental piece, and then you can give him some pitching as well. I would be more comfortable with a package like that than something led with Schlittler or Jones. Question is, will the Diamondbacks bite? They like the Yankees pitching prospects. We've talked about that, Ken, right? So they like pitching prospects. We have a lot of that.
Honestly, the biggest position of need that they have is rotational help and bullpen help. Their top pitching prospect is number 5, and you look at his measurables and his comparisons at throughout his minor league career, he rings out as closer to a 4-5 starter.
Mm-hmm.
You also have to remember that the Diamondbacks have Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen that are going to be leaving and free agent, plus Jordan Montgomery.
That's right.
Montgomery hasn't contributed anything, but they're losing 3 frontline starters, and they're a small market team. They're not going to be able to go out and sign huge contracts, especially after they put one on Corbin Burns.
It's true. I forgot about Montgomery. I totally forgot. He had Tommy John this year. Completely.
So you're looking at definitely a position of need. We've got some almost major league ready assets that we could swap over in a Suarez trade. Mm-hmm. Don't think it's going to take a big gun like Jones or Lombard or anything like that, especially on a 2-month rental. There's no way I'm making that trade anyhow.
You can have Alan Winans. You can have Brock Selvage. You can have Kyle Carr. There's some pitchers you can have. But at the end of the day, I think the ask will be Jones and or Schlittler, but I don't think the return will be that. And this is what happens, right? Teams ask for the moon. Cashman comes in at the clouds. They have to meet somewhere in between as the compromise point, right? What the compromise point is going to be, I have no idea. But the reporters are already asking Suarez about being traded to the Yankees. There's that much teeth into the discussion now, which it was kind of eye-opening for me. They didn't mention any of the team but the Yankees, so I'm curious to know if he knows there's more than a 50% chance he's probably going to get traded to the Yankees. That's what.
Raisman could be a guy that we would move.
Yeah, we
And I
have moved
mean,
pieces.
honestly, Jason, when you look at the Yankees rotation next year, Cole will come back probably by May. So you're
Mhm.
looking at Cole, Freed, Rodon, uh,
Hill,
Hill. Uh, then
Schluter.
you're looking for a number 5 starter. Who of these guys is going to be able to break out? You've got Warren, who, in all honesty, should be in AAA right now developing. But he leads major league rookies in strikeouts. He's got some issues in the first inning, but that comes with being a young pitcher,
Mhm,
figuring it out, making adjustments.
mhm,
He's going to get better.
mhm. This is interesting because last year the Yankees had two finalists for the Rookie of the Year and the winner, Hill
Yep.
and Austin Wells. They had first and third. This year they're likely going to have an arm and a bat as well, Dominguez and Will Warren competing for Rookie of the Year. So it's kind of cool to have the Yankees to have two guys that are going to compete. I don't know if they're going to win. You have Jacob Wilson, you have some other good players out there, but the fact that the Yankees have two guys competing for it just goes to
But
show a testament
that,
to
that
the development.
that lays into why our farm system numbers have gone down. We put a lot of our top prospects in the major leagues, and
Yeah.
they're performing. I mean, even on other teams like Carlos Narvaez, you look at the kid that we sent down for Jazz. He's balling at the major league level. So we've put a lot of talent in the major leagues. So
Yeah.
of course that's going to deplete our farm system and our numbers. But we've done a good job of drafting and signing players, IFA players, that are going to bring those numbers up. It just is going to take time. The
Mhm.
building blocks are all there. Look at all those SEC pitchers we signed last year.
Yeah. And they're in the lower levels of the system, but they were drafted last year. So and we got a couple this year too. A couple SEC, a pitcher from Mississippi State, a big lefty, Pico Khan, I think his name is. And so there are some more arms. The Yankees like big arms. So, and if you look at their, I mean, the two guys, Hess and Cunningham, last year, they were already in the top 10 prospects for the Yankees. Both of them. They were drafted just last year. I mean, they're in low A, but that's no surprise. So, and again, which team gets looted the most at the Rule 5 draft? The Yankees.
Oh, we do. We do
Yeah.
without a doubt. As a matter of fact, uh, this year, even from the catching position, we either have to protect Rafael Flores or he's going to get poached without a doubt.
And that's the thing, which leads me to one of the last things I want to talk about. And is he, if JC Escarra gets traded, right? There's a lot of calls being placed right now for Escarra. Why? He's an elite pitch framer. He's got 5 years of control, right? And he's a perfect catcher for a team that has a lot of young pitching that needs to develop, right? As an elite pitch framer, that's going to help the young pitchers develop, right? So he can develop a rapport with them. If he gets traded, is Flores the guy that they move up to replace him? So that automatically puts him on the 40 to protect him from the Rule 5.
Well, one of the things that I've complained about from Yankee catching is the ability to gun runner stealing. Well, Flores has a freaking howitzer for an arm,
Got a
so
cannon.
he is definitely going to be a guy who has great pop time and is going to limit a team's running ability when we're facing teams like the freaking Red Sox who run all day and then some,
Yeah.
or the Jays who were running on us the last series we played, or even the Rays. I mean, in the AL, the only team that is not really a burner team are the Orioles, but they have their elements too.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and Graham brings up Riggio. And Riggio is another one. He was drafted, I think he was drafted in 23, maybe 22. He's working his way up to the system as well. He's a second baseman. He's tearing the cover off the ball right now in Double A. And TJ Brumfield is another one. It's a corner infielder that is just kind of flying under the radar. He's pretty solid. He's a big boy. He's like 6'5", 240. And he could be a guy that could be, another trade piece. Could he be part of a Suarez trade? He could be. I mean, there are guys that are tradable here that unfortunately aren't getting opportunities here. I think like Rumfield at third is probably blocked by Lombard. Rumfield at first is probably blocked by Ben Rice. So instead of him falling under the radar and just sitting in Scranton, maybe you can move him for a piece that we need. right? And this is where
Well,
like doing our
that's absolutely right. Clete Boyer was uh, not a very staunch hitter,
great glove, yeah.
but
Yeah, it takes time sometimes. Sometimes, to Ralph's point, I mean, sometimes your glove is ahead of your bat. Sometimes your bat is ahead of your glove, right? And this is where, at the major league level, these things are amplified because you're playing at the highest on both sides. So if you're deficient on one side and strong on the other side, it's going to be pretty apparent quickly, right? And
but
that's
you
an
know,
area to work on.
like I says, I think that we have 3 players that we possibly need to add at the deadline. I believe that we have the bullets to add those players
Yeah, I do too.
without tearing the guts out. I mean, you look last year at San Diego, the deal that they did for 2.5 months of rental for Tanner Scott, first, second, third, fourth, 25th ranked prospects. There's no way in hell that I'm doing that from
Oh
the Yankee farm system.
no, no, heck no. And speaking of that crazy acquisition, I mean, people have been asking me recently. Luis Severino is available. Would you take him and his contract? And I said my response was the only scenario in the world that I would take that is if Mason Miller came with him. Otherwise, no. Because at that point, I can move on from Severino and just act like I'm paying Mason Miller that money. Because he's got 4 years of control beyond this year. And that
And
gets our shutdown closer. And I'd rather pay him the money and I can just release Severino and let him get picked up by some other team. I'm not going to pay
Severino
him.
signed the highest paid contract in A's history.
Make like $20 million a year. Making a lot.
Yeah. And his injury history here in New York, we paid him a lot of money and he didn't play.
Yeah.
He had great stuff in the short term, but he was always on the IL.
Tommy
And
John,
I mean,
ACL, all these types of injuries, man.
the one good season he had,
Ace.
we invested a lot of capital in him, and then 5 years of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think personally that the Severino signing is why we haven't offered contract extensions to younger players like the Braves do, like the Diamondbacks have, like a lot of the teams are locking up, uh, even the Royals. I think we're gun shy because of that.
Yeah, it could be. The Padres locked up, what's his name? Jackson Merrill. The big deal.
Merrill, Tatis.
Yeah. The Red Sox locked up who is it? A couple of these guys. I mean, look at Roman Anthony too. He's the number one prospect in all of baseball, and this is a direct, Spencer Jones link too, because a lot of folks talk about Spencer Jones he's not on the top 100 prospect list. Okay, guess who wasn't either? Aaron Judge wasn't on the top 100 prospect list. So guess who was? Jackson Holiday. He came up twice, stunk up the joint. Had to get sent down twice. Roman Anthony stunk up the joint. Number one prospect in the baseball again. Didn't pan out. He got sent back down. So just because you're on the Baseball America list doesn't mean that you're automatically better than everybody else. It's like George Lombard is 18th on that list. Is he that much better than Spencer Jones? The different positions, but
Jackson Holiday is here in Norfolk. Before he got called up, he was hitting 618, and everything he breathed, took a breath on, left the park. I mean, he was jacking. He didn't even hit 100 his first 60 at bats at the major leagues. That just tells you that the world turns completely different from minor league ball to major league ball. So the people that are subscribing to bring up Jones, to bring up Lombard right now, need to take those factors into accountability. You have an adjustment period no matter when you switch teams, whether it be from high A to double A or triple A coming up to the majors. You have your talent, but you have to learn the pitchers. You have to learn the field, even your own teammates. So there's probably a 4 to 6 week adjustment period right off the bat. I mean, look at Soto. Soto left the Bronx and went to the Mets, and for the first 6-8 weeks, he stunk up the place. You had the Mets fans just booing the hell out of him, tell him how he would rather be a Yankee than a Met and whatnot. But even a great player like Soto had to have an adjustment period. Now look at his numbers.
Getting better. Back to normal, closely. Very close. And again, as excited as I am Spencer Jones batting 360 in AAA, and you're right, Ken. That's how he's batting 600. 600 in AAA. That's I've never seen anything like that before. And then he came up here and what did he bat? 020? Maybe?
He went 1 for 34.
Yeah. That's like 020. Something it's beyond bad. It just goes to show the transition is a real thing. You know, the transition from AA to AAA is real, but it's different than it is the transition from AAA to the majors. It's a different transition each year, and your skill set, they have to balance more at each level because you're going to be seeing different things, right? You know, pitching could be deeper at AA right now, but it doesn't mean it's always better at AA. So there's a necessary transition that needs to take place for all these players, and I think it's important for us to keep that in mind, right? So
There, there, there have been some players that made the transition from even AA to the majors and been successful. One of them's on our team, Paul Goldschmidt.
Goldschmidt, yeah.
And throughout Goldschmidt's career, he's been a professional hitter. That guy has hit everywhere. He's getting older. He's had some slump periods, like all major league ball players do. I mean, when we signed Goldie, fans were not very high on the Goldie signing.
They wanted Christian Walker, right? Walker.
Yeah, we would have lost 2 more draft picks too. We already got scalped this past draft. But you look at Goldie, he was hitting beyond any conceivable notice. 350 for the first 6 weeks of the season. He's still hitting close to 300 now.
Mm-hmm. Got some breaking news.
Like
here.
every player, he goes through a slump, and he will be back.
Yep. Got some news here. Julio Urias is coming back. His suspension expires next week. Big arm, right? Big lefty arm. He's young, but he was been suspended for like the last 2 years for domestic abuse, like beating his wife or beating his girlfriend. So that's going to scare off a lot of teams. There's no denying his talent, but, you know.
But the thing that you have to look at Urias, too. He hasn't thrown a competitive pitch in how long?
At least 2 years.
So he's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to ramp up to a major league level. If they try to bring him up quick, he's going to get hit like a freaking piñata.
Yeah. Ramp up period is different than being game ready. Game ready takes an even longer transition, right? Ramp up just gets you, ready to recover from games. Ready to compete in games is different. Like David Robertson, we know now that the Yankees are looking into him, right? But that, to me, is to store him for the postseason.
That's 4 weeks until he's even ready to be competitive at the major league level.
He's going to do us no for the next month. None.
And if he signs with us, we got to have a corresponding roster move because he's not signing a minor league deal.
Exactly. He'll get some money. And yeah, you're right about that too. So it will be a corresponding roster move. And that doesn't change the fact that the Yankees need relievers right now. That he's not going to help.
Yeah, he's not value added at this particular moment. He'll be value added come postseason time because of his experience, his bulldog mentality. Plus, he understands the Yankee ways. That would be his third trip back with the team.
Yeah, and he's got pinpoint control too. He's got good control. He's known for being able to stay within the strike zone, which is a good feature. We know. And he struck out 99 guys in 7 innings pitched. So he averages about 13 plays at the age.
And at 39. He had a 3 ERA.
Yeah.
Who does that at that age?
Yeah, he's still good. He is still good. So, and the familiarity with New York and the playoffs could be an advantage too. But that doesn't mean I don't want a Duran or a Clase or a Jake Bird or something like that. Well, would I love to have both? Yeah. Who are we going to get? No idea. That's why it's going to be crazy the next 2 weeks.
I mean, honestly, Yankees hold their cards close to the vest. They might have let it slip with regard to Suarez being the priority pick, but bullpen arms, a lot of competition. They ain't letting anything slip.
Yeah,
and I would not be surprised, for us to pull 2 bullpen arms that nobody's thinking about.
Same. Same. This is where Cashman works stealth. He's very stealth in his maneuvers when it comes to bullpen pieces and these types of pieces. I never thought they were going to get Clay Holmes. And in hindsight, now people are like, oh, my God, Clay Holmes. But, like, when he came here, he had about almost a 6 ERA.
Yeah, he was high fives.
And we traded, what's the kid, that Japanese player? I forgot his name, but people were running around with their hair on fire thinking, oh, my God, we gave up this kid for Clay Holmes. And then he came here, and he had like a career 2.60 ERA in 2.5 years with the Yankees. Blown saves and all. His ERA was still like 2.60. So he definitely improved significantly since when he came here. Doesn't change the other things, but he improved significantly. So and Matt Blake, I trust. Whoever he brings in, I trust his ability to help make them better.
One of the questions that was out there is, do we re-sign Goldschmidt? I don't think so. And honestly, Goldschmidt came up as a Double-A ball player and had a guy by the name of Lyle Oberbay, who basically taught him how to be a first baseman. Great mentor, journeyman first baseman. And when Christian Walker was coming up, Goldschmidt put his wing under Walker and basically trained him to take his job, which allowed the Diamondbacks to move him to the Cardinals. He didn't really have a mentee in St. Louis because he just left in free agency and they were going to go with who they went. But him being in New York, being a mentor for Ben Rice is a good thing. It would be a similar profile type thing like we had with Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah.
Except Goldie's not injured. So he's on the field and he's able to demonstrate. You see him talking in the dugout a lot. So that could be a good thing for us. Hey, TC, good morning.
What's going on, brother? Again, helping mentor, just like Cole mentors a lot of these young pitchers. Goldschmidt mentors a lot of these young position players, especially first baseman. So I like Ben Rice. If they don't move him, I like his ability to be somebody who could replace Goldschmidt at first base should he not come back. And then the other question is, does Cody Bellinger exercise his option, or does he move on? Does he opt out? So
I think there's no way he opts.
I think it would be crazy. So crazy to opt out again. But like, what happens with him? Right? If he does he stay in the outfield, or does he get some reps at first base to give Ben Rice a little bit of a break? Right? And then you can get some other guys in there. Like, my question: who's going to be the fourth outfielder next year? Is it going to be Spencer Jones?
It's a great question.
Don't know, right? And if Cody Bellinger gives, let's just say he plays a third of his games at first base, does Spencer Jones get those reps? Or does Jason Dominguez move to third and Jones at center? Right? How do you make room for Jones here if Bellinger stays next year?
The long and short is the trade deadline is going to promulgate moves for us. If we trade Grisham, does that give Spencer Jones an opportunity to come up? Does Goldie take more reps or less reps at first base and move into a more DH type role against left-handed pitchers, who he's hitting 411 against? You just don't know until the chips start falling. And the only people who knows the targets are Cashman, Boone, and Hal, and whoever they're talking to. Anything else is straight 100% speculation. So when you're reading these proposed trades or these alleged conversations that are going on, they ain't going to leak from the Yankees half of the house.
No, they're not going to give people information or the material to run with and turn into propaganda, turn into something else, right?
Plus, you got to look at it. It would be us giving our strategy up against the guys who are going to be competing us for the same players.
You lose leverage if you do that. Yep. 100% right. 100% there, man. And again, these are the little things that I hope people are thinking about behind the scenes. This is why we talk about stuff like this. Because these are the other pieces of the puzzle that aren't always discussed. It's usually only always the narratives that we're hearing. This article, that article, this beat writer, that beat writer. What about all this other stuff?
But that's the reason that you run shows like this and my stream is to get the information out there, but don't take it as gospel. Do your own homework, research, critical thinking, then come back with an informed opinion. Hell, you may talk about something that we have no perspective on or haven't thought about. That's the beauty of the conversation, not the fire Boone, Volpe stinks, get rid of Wells.
Yeah. And the things that we know for the most part are not going to happen, right? So, like what we do know right now, there's more than a fair chance they trade Escara. Okay, there's more than a fair chance that they'll have a different third baseman come July 31st, right? Does that beef in the bench up? I don't know. They get Suarez and Castro. That beefens the bench up nicely, and you can play both of them if you want. So you can kind of maneuver things around, and Castro also gives the opportunity to give Volpe rest here and there, or come in as a defensive replacement. There's ways you could deploy a guy like Willie Castro. Right? There are ways you can deploy him that doesn't hurt the rest of the team. It doesn't hurt the other players. So, but yeah, I agree. And we've talked about this too. If you want something good, you got to give up something good. But that doesn't mean they're going to be stupid. And generally, Cashman drives a hard line on this type of stuff. He's relentless when it comes to negotiations. So
a lot of channels have talked about wasting the best years of Judge too. Judge is going to be a Hall of Famer regardless of what happens to the Yankees.
Yes.
Would it be nice for him to have a ring? Most certainly. But they're not going to make decisions based off of Judge's future.
Yeah, well, and what if they brought in Bryce Harper and Alex Bregman and didn't win a World Series at all during Judge's years? What happens then? Exactly.
I think if you bring Bregman in, you wreck team chemistry. And if you look at Harper's history, he's been off the field as much as Stanton has been.
Like, what if you brought in Willie Adames this year? Christian Walker.
Pay $160 million for a guy who's hitting just above the Mendoza line?
Yeah. So, I
don't think so.
This is, there's no guarantees to anything. The expensive players aren't always the best options. They're not.
Yep.
Okay? The best fits. Castro could be a better fit than Adames. Pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar, right? So, and this is where, they like to value shop. People call it dumpster dive, but this is where you can value shop. And again, if you look at it, even from a WAR standpoint, Cody Bellinger's WAR is higher than Juan Soto's right now. Anybody know that? It's true. So, like, it's guys like Willie Castro who can provide value. Even guys like Ahmed Rosario who can provide value. And again, factoring in also that his offensive production has come back down to earth. But if you're looking for fits who can fulfill certain areas of improvement for the Yankees, these are the types of guys that could fulfill a fit. Suarez is that power bat that they could put in the middle of the lineup, right? Castro could be the speedy guy you could put at the top of the lineup. Brian Hayes could be the glove at third base you could bat in the bottom of the lineup or lead off. Each one of them fits a certain piece of the puzzle, right? And there's no one single player that fits all of them. There's only one Aaron Judge in baseball. There's only one Shohei Ohtani in baseball, right? So, and again,
there are players out there that can improve the chances of this team making it back to the World Series, and they're not going to bust the bank. People talk about Hal not wanting to spend the money. Well, Hal is willing to spend the money if he's going to get a product that puts him back in the series with a chance to win.
Yeah. He wants to spend. I mean, he's a much more strategic spender than George Steinbrenner was. George Steinbrenner flexed his muscle all the time, right? And
yeah, but he put a lot of bad teams together.
Yes, he went. They didn't win anything from 79 to 96. 18-year stretch, longer than the one that Hal's has right now. Right?
And I mean, you want to talk about wasted years. That was Don Mattingly's career.
Yeah, his prime years. Dave Winfield, Ricky Henderson, all those guys. All their prime years. Right? So, as much as we can bring this stuff up now, this stuff has happened before. And so, like, how many World Series championships did Tony Gwynn win?
None. He made one World Series appearance.
Right?
And he got his head kicked in by the Yankees, by the way.
And swept by the Yankees. So, I don't know. Remember,
but you know what? In that series, he only struck out twice.
And this guy, I mean, to me is the Picasso. He's Picasso with the bat, just like Greg Maddux is Picasso on the mound. Those guys were a different breed, man. Not flashy, but you could not stop these guys. Right?
Without a doubt.
You don't always need muscle. You don't always need to out-muscle or flex your chest, right? You don't always need to do that. Sometimes you got to be smart. And this is where Hal differs from George, right? You have a big, loud guy. You don't question his ability to love his. Okay, fine. But then you have Hal, who's a more strategic, goes about things differently, and much more quiet and reserved, so it's easy. And he generally doesn't talk to people, so he has Cashman there to avoid and to absorb a lot of the beast things for him. Cashman doesn't care. They sting me all day. I don't really care. That's one reason why they're so loyal to these guys. One reason it's so hard to move on from Cashman and Boone. People can call Boone a yes man. Who are you going to replace him with? That can do what Hal wants done. Right, that's
well, I know. If I was looking at a general manager replacement, I would look at Kim Ng.
Kim Ng, yeah, she was Cashman's assistant GM.
She understands the Yankee way. She's a smart baseball person, but she has her own voice, and she demonstrated that with the Marlins. Part of why they parted ways, because everything she was trying to do, they sold.
Yeah, and who brought her in? Derek Jeter.
Jeter.
Because he knew that she would bring great value to the franchise. And she did. She did. And then when Jeter saw what they were doing, he sold his share. She kind of moved on too, and it became a different. And this is what I'm like to Jake's point. You want to change. What type of change you talking about? Change isn't always for the better, right? Look what the Marlins did. There's a reason why Jeter walked away. There's a reason why Ng walked away. Look with them now. Look where they now. They suck now, right? They were adopting essentially the Yankee way for a little while. They got to the playoffs. Then they abandoned that, right? So what change are we talking about, Jake, when you say they need to change? And I understand people's feelings, they want to change. Okay, fine. But what change are we talking about that's going to make it better for the Yankees?
I mean, there's always the question, too, a lot of crying about replacing Boone in the middle of the season. With who?
Yeah. Who are we going to replace him with?
I just ask, what coach do you want to hand the reins over to? Osmus? Heard Shelley Duncan. I says, you're going to rip a guy out of the minor leagues to come up to the show to manage?
Yeah. You bring in Bochy. You bring in some of these top managers, right? Alex Cora. Do any of them bring Cole back? No. Do any of them bring Schmidt back? No. Do any of them bring Hill back faster? No. Right? So these guys are going to have the same issues that Boone deals with. The same payroll parameters that Boone deals with, right?
I mean, you look, we've lost Cole, Schmidt, Hampton, Cousins, Cabrera, all for the season. They ain't coming back till next year.
Yeah.
That's a heavy hitting loss for the Yankees.
Big time.
I mean, you look at our IL list people. We've got Cruz, De Los Santos, Leiter Jr. We've got a lot of big hitters. Yarbrough, at least Hill's making his way back. So we've lost 5 bullpen arms to the IL.
Easily. Impactful arms. And
a lot of their ETRs aren't till August. So we need something before then.
Mm-hmm. This is one reason why the Yankees are probably going to bring in 2 relievers. And then when those guys come back, they're going to have to figure something out at that point. But if the Yankees want to stay competitive, and we know that the fans want them to stay competitive, they're going to have to make these moves. So what moves, we don't know. Right? But this is where like a lot of narratives and a lot of opinions get just jumbled into weeds.
I mean, Ralph, honestly, Schlittler, Spencer Jones, or George Lombard Jr., none of them are off the table for me. But it has to be for the right player. It's got to be somebody who is going to be value added and controllable to the team. Something will help the team win sustainably.
Yep. There's only one bet I would move any of those guys for. It's Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
No other bet.
But I don't think that the Guardians are selling.
I don't think so either.
At least him.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one arm I would probably move them for. It's either Skubal or Skeens. Right? And now those guys aren't being moved.
I mean, I'd consider Crochet too.
But he just signed a massive deal with the Red Sox too.
But the problem is, whoever we would have to send, I don't want to see 13 times a year kicking us in the ding-ding.
Yeah, send them to Boston. They're going to punish us, man. So
exactly. That'll be a decade's worth of pain.
Yeah. And again, right now, it's got to be for the right fits, man. Because I mean, as much as we want the blockbuster trade, what if they make a blockbuster trade and they get worse? What happens then? Do we just blame Brian Cashman for making the blockbuster trade that we asked him to make?
Well, if the fans got all the signings that they wanted, we'd have Blake Snell sitting on the aisle with us.
Yeah, Willie Adames.
We'd have Adames hitting close to the Mendoza line. We'd have Christian Walker hitting 214.
Yeah.
So, the big shiny names, and we'd have Bregman, who's had an IL stint too. So the big shiny names aren't necessarily the right fits for the team. And something that people don't really take into consideration is team chemistry. I think that you bring in a player like Bregman, there's a lot of issues there, and it's not going to be good. It'll be like a freaking repeat Donaldson type deal.
Mm-hmm. And this is a reason why no team is taking a bite on Trevor Bauer either.
Yeah, he got his all the stuff that he's had go wrong with him. He runs his mouth in Japan and gets sent to the minor leagues in Japan because he's not trainable and he's a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
You want to put him on a major league roster like in the Bronx? You'd probably end up with a photo session of Cole punching him in the jaw on the field.
Nonstop. I mean, look, he got criminally cleared. Okay, great. But, there's so many other pieces of baggage that he would bring here that would just be good.
The Diamondbacks drafted him. He was a very talented pitcher. You know what they traded him for? Because he was non-trainable. He wouldn't listen to their coaching staff. And that was as a freaking young pitcher. You think he's gotten any better?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, he did, Graham. Narvaez kicked our butts. But, I mean, not only him, Boston kicked our butts. So, and they're good. They're a sneaky good team.
Yeah, and all the pitchers that they got from us didn't help us any either.
Yeah. I wouldn't sleep on any team in the American League East. I mean, you might be able to sleep on Baltimore a little bit right now, but they got 4 teams over 500 right now. And there's a reason why this league is considered, the division is considered the toughest in baseball, at least. It's because it's tough.
Some of those bullpens they pulled or got were from the Rule 5 draft from our garbage farm system.
Yeah. So, what's the guy recently? Garrett Whitlock, Rule 5 from the Yankees.
Yep. It was like a freaking nightmare. It just kept getting worse.
Yeah.
Every time you turned around, an ex-Yankee was sitting there, and we were about to get kicked in the ding-ding again.
Mm-hmm. So, and we only have a finite number of guys that we can protect from the Rule 5. So guys will be exposed and will be picked up. And that's just the unfortunate 40-man roster crunch that every team has to deal with. So, and this is one reason why it makes it, they're if they're going to trade sometimes they trade a lot of players away. So, which clears up room on the 40-man, but also clears up, again, room on the 26 and protects guys from the 40-man. I mean, from the Rule 5 by putting on 40-man. So, because you could be on the 40 but not on the 26. But if you're on the 40, you're protected from Rule 5. And Spencer Jones has to be put on the 40 after this year.
Graham, I'm not worried about the Red Sox. Their defense is so bad, they're not going to hold up. Plus, they've had issues still scoring. Their pitching has been ruling the day. Watch their bullpen start to falter, and that team is going to come down like a house of cards.
They need a pitcher. They need another starting pitcher, right, at the very least, the Red Sox. But Kershaw's nasty. Yeah, we know Kershaw's nasty. We know that. Walker Buehler, okay. But, the only situation I'd be more concerned is if they added somebody like Freddie Peralta or one of these bigger arms, which they've got the farm to do it, but we'll see what happens. They add Paul Skeens, I'll be terrified. But that hasn't happened. So, but that's what we want to talk about, gang, today. And again, this is, we want to, we try to bring perspective into this hornet's nest of a lot of bad information that circulates around a lot of social media and Yankee channels. That's important to kind of just poke through it on occasion, right? And when we have receipts where you could show in the beginning of the stream, we showed the defensive statistics for team rankings. And I'll attach it down below so you can take a look for yourself. And then you could also see where the Yankees offensively stand because all that stuff is in there. Okay. One thing we didn't mention is they're number one in baseball in WAR per position player. Number one in baseball. So they're better in a lot of areas than we think they are. But what gets magnified the most? Areas where they're bad, right? That just comes with the territory. It's the nature of the beast. And yeah, Jonathan, in 15 days, you will know a lot more. So we got to stay tuned. And I would encourage you, if you're not subscribed to Ken's and the Ugly Truth, make sure you do that. We will be getting all the information that you folks need. I'll be live as well, trade deadline day, pretty much most of the day. And we'll get you the news as it comes in. At the deadline, before the deadline, right? We'll make sure that you know what's going on. But if you welcome just knowledge, facts, and just perspective and not BS, please make sure you subscribe to both of the guys on the screen right here. Okay? And we keep it straight. We don't propagandize. We don't do stuff for clicks. No manipulative titles. The Yankees.
That's why it's called. That's why it's called the Ugly Truth.
Yeah, the Yankees signed a guy who's not even a free agent. How the hell do you sign a guy who's not a free agent? There's some other titles and other channels. Oh, the Yankees signed Rafael Devers. When was Rafael Devers a free agent? He wasn't. What are we talking about?
Did you see the JT and Jonathan notes?
The Royals acquire Adam Frazier. Okay, nice little trade for the Royals. All right. And Jonathan brought the details here. Thank you, guys, JT, and thank you, Jonathan. So acquiring
JT got it too.
From the Pirates. Cam Devaney's going to the Pirates. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, JT and Jonathan. See? This is why we love having guys like this in here. Give information as it comes in. And sometimes these trades are the impactful trades. The Royals, they're not going to make a lot of sexy trades, but there's a reason why the Royals kind of stay around. There's a reason why the Guardians kind of stay around. They don't make monster trades. They make smart ones. Like the Rays. They make smart trades. Right? And sometimes it's not sexy, but it's more impactful. No. But I want to thank you all for coming on. Ken, I want to thank you for joining me today, too. It's just
Most appreciated.
Thanks
for having me.
It's good to be able to talk about this stuff, right? And Ken's somebody I always look to for insights and facts. Make sure that we're, communicating the right message to folks. We want you folks who watch this to know what's going on. We want you to have the full story, not just part of the story we want you to have. Even if the story doesn't agree with us, it's still the story. That's okay, right? That's why we just keep it straight. So, but thank you so much for everybody. Smack the like button if you're on the way out, if you don't mind. If anything else comes out, I promise you we'll get it to you. Today, live time. Okay? Peace and love to all of yous. You are the best. Okay? Ken, you're the man. Let's go Yankees, everybody.